Well, it's been a minute since I've spoken on here, but it's been a great time so far. This July and June, because I really haven't, it's been like, what, a month since I uploaded or whatever. Doing just all these things that I wanted to do over the summer. And like, since I'm finally accomplishing them, it's like feeling pretty good. But it is crazy because time flies so fast. And like, it kind of felt like I was anticipating the time for so long. Like this trip that I was planning to go to the World Cup with my buddy, I was like anticipating it for so long, and then it happened, and it's gone like so fast. And it just kind of reminds me that you have to really experience things like to the fullest, and I don't know, like make sure you experience it enough to remember it and call it back when you want, because that's what keeps me going. I think it's like being able to recall these like experiences and memories and really good times and just be able to feel that again, you know what I mean? Like at a moment's notice. And one thing that keeps that away is like your phone. Your phone, if you constantly use it, it just makes you speed up time. It makes you pass time without doing anything memorable. And even recording moments on your phone, they kind of make you like not actually pay attention to it. So it's like a digital memory, not a real memory in your brain that you recall back to. And obviously, you can watch back the footage and like it's there for you to watch at all times. But you get that external sensation instead of that internal sensation. I feel like now I'm getting really deep, but I think I'm really tapping into something here because truly our phone has become like an extension of our brain. Like it thinks for us. Okay, sorry for that. It thinks for us, and it remembers things for us. We call back to it when we want. Like we can put a note down on it, jot some notes down and call back to it at any given notice, since it's always with us, right? It's like literally an extension of our brain, our human being, like. And yeah, so the reason why I'm talking about that is because like just going along with this whole idea of that I went on this trip. I tried my best not to record as much as possible, but also recording just enough to be able to, either make a video or some kind of, being able to show people what I experienced, which is always fun because you can't do that with your brain, you can't do that with your eyes, but you can explain it, you can talk about it with people. It's the old way and the new way. And yeah, honestly, like, despite what I want to do despite me trying my best to like not be this digital cyborg, digital, you know what I'm trying to say. I still record. Like, who's not going to record their first soccer game, World Cup game? You know what I mean? But I did a little 50-50, just trying to record, right out the bat, just try to get, all the clips so that I could show people later, and then boom, put my phone away, and just be there for the moment. And something I see this a lot with is like concerts, man. Now, this is actually a huge pet peeve of mine because although like I was not a victim, I was a what's the word? I was guilty of doing this for a long time, but I have since changed my ways. Like when I went to a concert or like Lollapalooza, any concert, any festival where there's a concert, right? Dude, the amount of phone cameras that are just out in the stands, like, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's not ridiculous. Every single person is just holding their phone up trying to record. Since they're recording, there's no movement, there's no actual like experiencing the moment, really. You're just focused on trying to get the shot right, you know what I mean, trying to get the person in frame. And that's what, like, 100 people in a square, in like 5 square feet or whatever. Okay, that's a little too small, but whatever. That's what 100 people in one given space are doing. Much, and like, and then a whole concert of I don't know how many people, right? Just everybody on their phones trying to record, and like whatever. And it gets to a point where I'm thinking like, dude, if you like you post this online or something, no one actually cares. Um Now I used to do this, right? But ever since I really realized this, I kind of stopped. Like I used to be the guy that like would have their Snapchat story completely full of whatever event I was witnessing at the time, and it's like a freaking 30 slide Snapchat story of just me like, record trying to record the whole thing as much as possible. I did that like in middle school, right? Like we all did. But no one there's people still do that, and it's like, dude, let's wake up here. Like no one's actually going through, no one, not a single soul, not even your parents or anyone, not even a loved one, is going to go through all that and like genuinely think it's cool. Not even, not even if you post it like once. If you post it like once, like I'd say maybe 50% of the people are gonna like actually see it. People that follow you and whatever. And even then, it's like the only real purpose I see in doing that is to like make someone jealous that they're not there, and that in and of itself is like kind of a little petty, a little corny. You know what I mean? So I mean, okay, I went to this World Cup game and I recorded a little bit just because I want to be able to, show people my view when I'm back home and like, explaining my trip. But I don't have a social media, so I don't post for anybody to like see that online or anything. Because I mean, my philosophy is that just no one like no one actually cares about how you're doing like online, honestly, unless they're like genuinely a good friend. But if they're a genuinely good friend of yours, like just talk to them on like text, or see them in person. Social media is like so pointless to me. And there's acquaintances. Like I've had so many acquaintances. And that's the one part that does suck, is like being able to keep in touch with those acquaintances. But like, I don't know, since really stepping into adulthood, it's like you really don't have the time to just keep up with acquaintances like that anyways. So it's like you're on here and like half tapped in with so many like people that aren't even that connected with you, or like you're not. And for me, I'm just like, I'm gonna focus my time on like other things. So yeah, I don't have a social media. But okay, huge side tangent away, but I really have always thought that I was at this World Cup game, try to record as little as possible so I can, retain as much of it in my head as possible. And yeah, it was awesome. But the time went by so fast, and I tried my best to not, me and my buddy, we were really tired sometimes, but we tried to go out there and do what we could. Um, we had a rental car, so we were able to go around and visit things, like visits cool places and things that aren't in our hometown of, in the Midwest. So that was a lot of fun. But one thing I will say is like, there's nothing like home. I love being able to experience new things, but also part of the great feeling of traveling is honestly like the feeling of going back home to what's familiar and going back to your loved ones. Like, I didn't really have this before, but now in adulthood, when I have kind of like adulthood, like, um, panics and worries, is like, going back home and seeing my loved ones, because when I'm out, I'm away from everybody and I just worry about how they're doing, and, making sure that I'm still present in everyone's lives that I care about. And it's just way better going back home and, being able to see everybody again. That's my big thing. I don't ever want to take time for granted. So when I'm out, not with, my girlfriends or with my parents, like I just, that's something I keep in the back of my head. And that's definitely something that hinders the experience of going out and doing stuff, for sure. Like not good, but, I'm working on it. I had a great time, and shout out to my boy, who got me those, tickets. He got one for me, one for him, set up everything, like planned it out really for the most part, did all the hard work of a trip. And I was really just in the back seat of the whole thing and trying to help when I can. And, but shout out to, you always need a friend that does that. If your friend group doesn't have that planner, then your friend group stinks. They're not going to do anything for the year. And I try to be the planner sometimes, but it's just not in my DNA, honestly. Um, yeah, I came back home. Um, and right away I got a new cell phone. I think I made a video some time ago about how I wanted to get a new phone. I thought it was finally time for one because my iPhone 13 Pro was in pretty good shape, but the microphone just was okay. So I don't know who was messing with me and who wasn't, but my girlfriend definitely said she had a hard time hearing me, like on phone calls and FaceTime combos. So I had a feeling like, well, not I had a feeling, but I figured something was wrong with my microphone. And just when I would, but I didn't really hear that from many people. And then slowly and slowly I started hearing that from more people that, like, I was talking on the phone, they couldn't hear me at all. That's frustrating. The battery was really low. It was starting to get to, it got to 79%, which, I guess is still bigger than 50%, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty bad number for your battery to be at. It didn't feel like it was dying right away the way like iPods back in the day, like once they were used for a few years and they just kind of shut off right away. It wasn't that bad, but I guess that's just the state of technology nowadays. But yeah, knowing that my battery life could have been way longer, it did kind of irritate me sometimes because I'd be like using my phone for a bit and I'd be down to 20% or 80% just from a little bit. And I'd be like, ugh, like now I gotta, ration out my phone time use, which maybe isn't bad, but maybe that's like better for me. But yeah, that's just, um, as a tech enthusiast, I need my phone time. Um, I need adequate phone time for sure. I just try to use it wisely and responsibly. But yeah, so I was looking at used phones because I truly didn't know which phone I wanted. Because after everything I've gathered about new phones, and also at the state of like old phones, with my iPhone 13 Pro being basically like still good at so many things, I was like, what do I even need right now? I just need a working microphone, but I don't want to buy another iPhone 13 Pro or something like that to replace it. Um, and so I was looking at iPhones, obviously, but iPhones are so expensive right now. Well, they've always been, right? They're quality phones. But with the newer model iPhones, like I was genuinely seeing so little features and new things to like look forward to that genuinely just didn't justify the price tag for me. Like, um, I'm pretty sure I was like seeing prices around like 1K, you know, 1 grand for a phone that was more or less kind of just like the one I already had. Um, Besides maybe some better quality pictures, a slightly better display, a slightly better battery, maybe a lot better for some of those things. But I don't know. When I was just generally looking, it just honestly looked like a bigger version of my phone already. And the price was a lot for just that. I was like, I'm not impressed. So I went looking for the new Android models, which ones are good. Maybe I'll do my big return to Android. I've been thinking about that for a while since I had my S7 that broke. Um, and lo and behold, I came across the Galaxy S24 Ultra used. Um, and it was a really good price. It was like 580 something on Amazon used. Also, part of the decision that I came up with this is that if I got a used iPhone and it comes with a cruddy battery, I'm gonna be so upset. Because Amazon Renew does not guarantee that you get like a brand new battery. It could be up to like 100 to 80%. And if I got an 80% battery on a pre-used phone that I just bought, I'd be so mad. um, so if that were to happen, right, and I got my Galaxy or I got my iPhone, then it'd be way easier to repair the Galaxy battery, or at least a lot more cheaper, as a just from general research, right? Generic research. Now, I don't know about Apple Care and they do it for free or something like that if it's below 79, I think. but Amazon at least guarantees that it's over 80. So I don't know. Like I was just I didn't want to try my luck because when I try my luck, I usually don't get good luck. I feel like so. I was like, and then I was looking at all these Galaxy features, and just a lot to like kind of experience, a lot to look forward to, something to be excited about again. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, the screen display is pretty good. Nothing crazy, I would say, but it has a stylus and the side button on the stylus that you can use as like a phone camera, like a remote shoot on your phone camera. Um, the AI features that are really hyped about with the Galaxy, like apparently they have a really good like AI assistant, I guess. Like a better Siri, right? So I'm like, Siri's been pretty crazy, so it'd be kind of cool to have a an actual competent, I guess, like voice assistant thing. And I just remember back having my Android back then, like I was able to, download whatever I wanted, and it wasn't like strictly limited to software that like from the App Store. You could download like apps and from like the internet and have them installed on your phone, and you can have different launchers and different customizations. So remembering that, I was like, yeah, let me give this a shot. It's a better price, with some things, some new toys to play with. Um, I know I'm definitely gonna miss some parts of it, like iMessage. I knew iMessage was gonna be a huge loss because, especially talking with my girlfriend. But since I have a secondary iPhone that I have anyway, a SIM-less iPhone, I carry one around because I got it from my buddy who was selling one, and I was like, so I had two iPhone 13 Pros actually, and I still had the other iPhone 13 Pro. So I could literally just carry my iPhone 13 Pro, like second one, um, around and still have all those Apple features, and I'd be chilling. So that's and I could still FaceTime my girlfriend, and I wouldn't have to worry about all that. Um, so yeah, that's what I did. I got Oh, not to mention the fact that I got it like used from Amazon means I don't have to like trade in and lose like my previous one. So technically, if I wanted to, I could go back to the iPhone 13 Pro, and I was using that as like a little bit of a crutch to be like, if this is the worst decision I've ever made, I could just go back. And I mean, so far, not been there yet. Been pretty happy with it. And yeah, so let me talk about how it's actually been. It's been pretty good, but I definitely miss iPhone a lot. I've been on iPhone at this point for like 7 years now, since I switched back from my S7, and before that S7, I was with an iPhone 6 and whatnot. So I've primarily been an iPhone user, but like when I had my S7, I like was very comfortable with it. It was like my phone. I was ready to be an Android person for the rest of my whatever adulthood. I don't know, for a long time. And when I went back to the iPhone with the iPhone 11 because my S7 broke, I don't know. It's like I guess I really got locked into the Apple like environment of things. And oh yeah, in college I got a MacBook. Like I switched over to a Mac device for my laptop. I had also had an iPad, so I was really locked into this Apple ecosystem, and I think I underestimated like the grand change that I was going to experience going back to Android. I was like, I already had an Android; it's gonna be fine. But no, this new, things have changed since the S7 for sure, and in a good way, of course. I remember the old interface, like it felt a lot more complicated, I think, and this one is more simplified for sure. Um, but I definitely miss iMessage so badly, man. It really stinks texting everybody, and I just know they're seeing my green messages and like not being able to react or send all those crazy like iMessage feeds through text messages. And I know that's literally mostly Apple's fault, but they're pretty genius for doing that because it really sucks being the odd one out. And all these group chats that I texted, and they're like, oh, why is it green? I'm like, man, that's me. That's me. I got a new phone, and they're not even happy for me because it's an Android. Anyways, um, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm literally like so down bad because of this smoke right now. I'm from the Midwest, so we've been getting berated by this wildfire smoke. Um, and ever since like it started, my chest has been so cruddy, in my throat. So I'm recovering from that. But thankfully it's clearing up. Um, so I do miss iMessage a lot, and I can still use my old phone with my iMessage is still connected to my email, like my Apple account. So people can text me through email on iMessage, which is cool, and I can still text like everybody, but it's just not connected to my number anymore. And although I thought it was going to be easy to just kind of find some kind of workaround, it hasn't been. I mostly have to just text from my phone. Like I don't want to pull out my secondary phone and connect to the remote to the what is it hotspot and send a text. That's just too much effort. So I just text with my phone, and I'm using the green ones, the green text, which is fine. It's totally fine. I think everyone's starting to get used to it, but I just do miss being able to like do these reaction things. And the other day, like I sent actually just earlier today, sent a couple like haircut pictures, and my sister, I'm like asking for recommendations or like opinions, right? And everybody hearts the message that like the image that they prefer like are voting for, and I can't see any of them because it just says on my device, it just says this person hearted a picture, and I can't see which picture they hearted. That stinks, man. That really stinks. But yeah, besides that, I've been having a pretty good time with everything else. Although I'm excited for the stylus, I do know I'm definitely not using it like often. Like I need to really gear myself to start using it a lot. I like to draw a lot, obviously. So I want to find some apps that I can like draw with and use that stylus, which is pretty cool. Um, and yeah, one thing I would say about this Android like experience is that like the notifications seem way less in your face. Now I think you can pretty much change it to look however you want, but with this native Android like UI, notifications really don't seem to pop up as like so like urgently as they did on iPhone. I don't know how to explain it. Um, but yeah, the banners just take up less space in the room, so they just feel more subtle, right? Like I get a notification from like an email that got sent to me. There's just this little like message that pops up, and I can like swipe it away if I want. But on iPhone, it's like when you have those notification banners, they're like pretty big and they pop up like pretty like distinctly, right? Which is good because you don't want to miss messages if they're important. But also, I've been on my anxiety like recovery trip this year, especially because I've been like more anxious in this like period of my life, stepping into adulthood and trying to lower my cortisol, really trying to lower my cortisol, right? And I think low key, like the iPhone, not the iPhone, but just notifications on my phone in general are something that drive up my cortisol. Like I had Slack from my workplace like enabled, and so I'd get any work message like as soon as it popped up, and like I would just get worried about it like a little bit, and it's fine, but like little by little, like those things add up. I feel like so sometimes I just had to disable. There's those do not disturb modes. Um, but I don't know, on Android it seems like a lot of stuff. It does a good job of somewhat like making it look subtle. I get, I'm starting to get a decent amount of notifications again since I got most of my apps back. But I find myself not like getting the messages shoved in my face in a way, and I can't entirely explain. I think it's genuinely just smaller like text size and like the real estate of the screen, it is a much bigger screen. So the notifications themselves take up less space, like the banners and whatnot. Um, Now on the other hand, like, am I gonna miss something important? Maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm willing to continue this if it means that I can be more at peace and more relaxed, not just having to see a lot of notifications pop up because yeah, um, when there was a point when I was getting so many notifications on my phone, I was in a really anxious like chapter. I don't know, like I was having like an anxiety episode, right? And like I had to just fully disable them. And it actually did like a lot of help. Like it helped a lot. Within a couple days or whatever, I was like really chilled out. And I noticed when I turned it off, it accelerated that piece a lot more. Because you don't have just a bunch of things getting shoved in your face. Your brain wasn't meant to take all that. At least that's what I think I've gathered and learned. So yeah, it's been pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's like blowing iPhone out of the water the way a lot of Android, you know, Windows and anti-Apple users are. I miss Apple a lot for sure. But it's been going good so far, and I think I'm gonna further explore like more of the features that Android has with this S24 Ultra. The more I use it, I definitely need to do more research because I'm like still at base level. Like I think I can do a lot of customization and whatnot, so I'm gonna have to like really make it mine. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, it's a pleasure. Um, shout out shout out anybody watching right now. If y'all knew Spain was gonna win, let me know. I That's another huge thing that I'm thinking about maybe talking about or not. The World Cup itself, a crazy turnout. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.